So hello students, this is lecture number 6, Introduction to Programming with C++ language. Okay, so I hope you have gone through my previous videos in which I had explained the structure of a C++ program. Okay, so today we shall be learning a bit more about the structure of a C++ program by using this simple example. Okay, so this program relates, or this program is about finding whether a number is odd or even. Okay, a very simple basic C++ program. And since you all are aware of the various parts of a C++ program, for example, this is the header files, right? This is the main function. This is the main function. These are input output statements. These are the input output statements. This if else is the condition, and this lastly is the return statement, right? Okay, so these are the various parts or the components of a C++ program. Okay, so to explain this program, let me ask you a very simple question, that what do we do to find out whether a number is odd or even? What can be done to find out whether a number is odd or even? A very simple rule applies, that there is a very simple rule that if a number, for example, let's say a number is 14. So if a number is divisible by 2 and the remainder is 0, that means what? This 14 is even, right? Let us take another example. If there is a number named 35, okay? So if we divide it by 2, how much? 1s are 2, 15, 2 7s are 14 by 1. This is the remainder, right? So as you have seen in both the cases, let me compare and show. 2 divided by, suppose 15, 2 7s are 14, 1, and 2, suppose 10. So see, in both the cases, these are the two numbers. These are the two numbers 15 and 10. So one of them is odd and the other is even. So see, the difference is that whenever we get a remainder 1, that means what? The number is odd. And whenever we get a remainder 0, the number is even. So I hope this thing is clear. Very simple basic mathematics. Okay. So depending on the remainder, we can know whether a number is odd or even. Right. So let us see how it works, or how it can be implied using a C++ program. Okay. So in C++ program, there are various operators. Okay. For example, there is an equal to operator. This is equal to. This is known as the modulus operator. This is the scope resolution operator, etc. So these are various operators in C++. Okay. So now, how do we make use of such an operator? So see, there is an operator known as modulus operator. What it does is that it checks the remainder. It checks for the remainder. Okay. Now, when it checks for the remainder, that means what? In my condition, what will I put? See, if n%2, that means what? Whatever is the number. For example, the value of n is 15. So 15% 2 equal to 0. Okay? 15. What it means is that the number which you have entered, for example, you have entered the value of n as 15. So 15 mod of 2, that means what? 15 divided by 2. The remainder is 1. So is it equal to 0? No. Okay. Let's see the functioning of this program. Okay. So firstly, you have the header files. So what are header files? Header files are certain, what to say? Header files are certain functions, or these are certain header files which contain the functionality of various parts of the program. For example, let's say cout. These two statements, cout and cin. So as I have told in my previous video that this cout statement, the cout statement is used to display the values or display anything to the user, and the cin statement, the cin statement is what it does. It is used to take input from the user's end, right? So it is used to take input from the user's end. Okay. Now suppose, I hope the program is visible to you all. So hash include iostream using namespace std. This is the part of the header file you written. Now there you have to start with the main function, int main. So since we are operating on integers, so int main, int n. This is what? This is a variable of integer type n. Okay, this n is a variable where the value will be stored. Okay, this is a variable, right? Now cin, as I told you that cin is used to take value from the user. Now what this statement will do, cin statement, it will tell the user that okay, give me some values for which I will check whether the value is odd or even. Okay, now when I enter this value, what value gets in? Suppose randomly I ask the user by displaying this, enter an integer. Okay, so the user has entered a value. So whatever value the user will enter, it will get inside this memory block. Suppose say user has entered 15. Okay, user has entered 15. Now this block of code, this part, this is the main part, this is the executable part. Okay, now what it says is that n mod of 2 equal to 0. This is the condition. So whenever this condition is satisfied, then the number is even, and if it is not satisfied, then the number is odd, right? So if this condition is satisfied, that means what? This cout statement will be executed, and if not, it goes to the else part, then this part will be executed, right? So now let's see how it works. Okay, let's see how it works. Suppose we take a bunch of numbers, for example say 15, we have taken, let's say 38, we have taken 10. These are three numbers. Let us check with these three numbers. Okay, so let us take, this is the variable n. Okay, so firstly let us assume that the user has entered 15. Let us assume that the user has entered 15 as the first number. So int n, this is the variable n, cout, this message gets displayed to the user that okay, enter an integer. Okay, now when the user enters a number, cin, through this statement, so through this statement the user will enter the value, the cin statement, so 15 gets entered. Okay, now coming to the process, if n%2 or n mod of 2 equal to 0, if n mod of 2 equal to 0, so let us check, is n mod of 2 means 15 mod of 2 equal to 0, is it 0? Does it give 0? Let us check, does it give 0 or not? Okay, so 2 divided by 15, 2 7s are 14, remainder is 1. So is the remainder equal to 0? No. That means what? The control goes to this else part. If it is satisfied, then this gets displayed. Cout, it is even, right? But the remainder is 1 now. So the control will go to which part? The control goes to the else part, this part. Since it is not true, the other part will be true, right? If or else, right? So either of the two statements has to be correct, isn't it? So that means what? A number can either be odd or a number can either be even. So there is no third case, right, in this. So what happens is that when it got the remainder as 1, what happened is that this part became false. So automatically the control went to the else part. Else means what? If it is giving a remainder as 1, that means automatically the number is not even. That means what? The number has to be odd. Right? Let us check with another number. Let's say 38. Okay? Let's say 38. Now 38 divided by 2. That means what? 38 mod of 2. Remainder is what? 38 mod of 2. So when 38 mod of 2, then how much? 2 ones are 2. 2 ones are 2. Carries 1, 18. 2 nines are 18. The remainder goes to 0. The remainder is 0 in this case. Right? So the remainder is 0 in this case. That means what? This condition. If condition is satisfied. So no need of going to the else part. So what it will do? It will check that okay, 38 mod of 2 equal to 0 or not. So this time the condition is satisfied. Yes, definitely the remainder is 0. So that means what? It will display n. N value is how much? 38. It will display 38 is even. Am I clear? I hope I am clear, students. So first it will check whether 38 mod of 2 equal to 0 or not. That means what? When you divide 38 by 2, the remainder should come as 0. Now, since the remainder is 0 in this case, that means what? This statement will be executed and no need of going to the else part. Okay? No need of going to the else part. Now, taking the third example of, let's say, 11. Now, in 11, 2 divided by 11 is how much? 2 5s are 10 and remainder is 1. Right? In this case again, if the number is 11, that means what? 11 mod of 2 equal to 0. Is it true? This time the condition is not satisfied. That means what? The control will go to the else part and it will display that 11. The number is 11, right? And value is 11, so it will display 11 is odd. And lastly, you have the return statement to tell the main function. So as I told in my previous video, what is return statement? Return statement is written to indicate the main function that okay, the program execution was successful. Okay, students. Now let me brief you about one more thing, function. Let me brief you about one more thing known as functions. Functions are a series of steps to perform a specific task. For example, area. Okay. So when we talk about functions, so now functions are what? A series of steps to achieve any particular task. Let's say area Now see, this is the example of a function. Now what is function in C++? A series of steps to achieve any particular task, or a series of steps, or you can say a series of commands. Right, students? So functions in C++, what do you mean by this? That functions are certain series of commands to achieve any particular task. Okay, so see, C++ is such a language where code reusability is very much essential, and it is also a feature of C++. Okay, so we like the code to be short. Okay, so see, we people are generally, what do? We write a piece of code, and what we wish that a code can be reused again and again. Okay, so that it saves your time, it saves your effort, right? So whenever we talk about functions, suppose functions is a series of commands to achieve any particular task. So this is a function named area, right? So what it will do, it will take two variables a and b. It will take this area as the third variable. Now what it will do, for example, this is the area for a rectangle. So L into B, in this case it is A into B, right? This is the length, this is the breadth. So area will be calculated by length into breadth, and lastly the statement will be displayed through the cout, right? So whenever we want to find out the area, we no need to write this block of code again and again. We don't need to write this much code again and again. We just call this function. And your work will be done. Okay, so let me brief it with a very real life example. Let's say we all have maids in our house. Right? Now, when the maid comes in for the first time, suppose the maid has come in for the first time, and what do you want? You want her to make a variety of dishes. Okay, Now what happened is that suppose she's not well known about what kind of dishes do you like or your family likes. So what you will do, as soon as she comes, you will instruct her. Okay, you will try to instruct her regarding the various dishes that are available at your home. And once she knows how to make all these dishes, what do you have to do from the next time? You just have to make a call, or you just have to tell her once that okay, make this for me, and she will do it for you, right? You don't need to teach her again and again, isn't it? I'm repeating myself again. See, once your maid has known what kind of dishes to make and how to make them, you just need to pass the order. You just need to call her once and tell her that okay, today I want this kind of dishes. So she will make it for you. Why? Because she knows already what is to be done. You just have to make a confirmation or a order, right? In the same way, in a program, what functions do is that they are already written with some piece of code. What this function will do, its task or its code is already written in this block. What you have to do, you just have to call this function in a program and your work will be done. Okay. Similarly, you saw this in the program, right? So this is known as the main function. Inside this main function's body only the whole program has to be written. Okay, inside the main function's body only the whole program has to be written, so that the compiler knows that okay, this is the main function and here only the execution or the program is going on, right? So in the same way, you can have many kind of functions. So there may be some predefined functions, there may be some inbuilt functions. Okay. And second thing, what you must know is header files. Now what are header files? I told you this. Or maybe hash include IOStream. Right? Hash include IOStream. Let's say this IOStream. So this header file hash include IOStream. Hash include is the preprocessor directive. And this, my dear friends, is the header file IOStream. IOStream stands for input output stream. Okay. So in the program you might have seen these two. In the program you might have seen these two statements, right? This cout and cin. These two statements. So what did I tell that what does this cout do? This cout helps you to display. It helps you to display any information to the user, and it is used to, and this cin statement is used to take values from user, right? So how does the compiler know that okay, cout has to display and cin has to take values from the user? Have you ever imagined this thing? Right. So the cout statement and the cin statement, whatever two things will do, whatever these two commands or statements will do, that is already defined inside this header file. Getting my point? The functionality of these two is already defined in this header file. That is why we say hash include IOStream. Hash include this input output streams. Just by writing this hash include IOStream, you can use these two statements in your program. That means what? The inclusion of this IOStream in your program helps you to display these two or use these two functions, cout and cin statements. Okay, you don't need to write a separate code for them again, as because the functionality of these two statements is already defined inside this. Getting? I hope this thing is clear, students, and I would like to tell you that practice more and more programs. Look out for various kind of programs. You have different kind of programs. For example, let's say you have programs of finding whether a number is prime or not. Now just now in today's video, what we did whether a number is even or odd. Similarly, you can do programs with factorial of a number. I hope everyone knows what is factorial, right? So C++ programs can be of various types, of various problems, right? So what I would suggest is that start from the very basic programs. For example, prime number, odd or even, factorial of a given number, or maybe sum of two numbers, subtraction of two numbers. So try out various kind of programs. Only then when you get errors or maybe you can correct those errors, then only you can say that okay, I have gained something out of C++. And now if you practice these programs continuously, what will happen is that it will give you confidence, so that okay, I can try more programs, right? And simply if you don't write or if you don't practice any simple program, then it will be very difficult for you in later classes, right? So what I would suggest is that go ahead with various simple programs. Initially you don't need to write big programs of 2-3 pages. No, start out with simple programs, try to understand the logic behind these programs and try to implement them. Okay, and I hope by doing this you will be able to have a very good grip over C++ and it will help you in your future studies as well. Okay, so students, that will be all for today, and we shall continue our lecture in the next video. Thank you.